Hello, this video by needlepointers.com is another project for our kids sewing series, and it is on how to make a fleece scarf. If you're a beginner sewer or you want to teach your child to sew, this is an excellent project. Okay, the first thing you need is about a half a yard of fleece material and thread. You're going to cut your fleece 15 inches by 60 inches, which I've already done. You're also going to cut off the selvage or trim the selvage that was along the one end. The next thing you're going to do is, with right sides together, you're going to pin it together, starting 5 inches up from this end and ending 5 inches from the other end. So I'll start to pin to show you how to do it. So we're going to start 5 inches in. We're doing that because here is going to be the fringe. And then we're just going to take it and pin along here to make it easier when you're sewing, that you keep it straight. Okay, now I'm going to measure 5 inches from this end. And put my pin. Now we're ready to start sewing, so I'll meet you over at the sewing machine. Okay, we're going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. We're going to start to sew, back tack, and then just sew all along a 1/2 inch.
And start
Now,
at your 5 inch.
Yeah, and don't forget, you have to start the 5 inches away from the end. You really should, as you're sewing, take your pins out and not sew over them, because sometimes you will hit it and break your needle. So this is just a helpful hint on when you're sewing. Okay, this is the last pin. Remember, we're going to end right where that pin is. And then we're going to back tack. Okay, we're going to turn it now right side out. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to go over to our table and we're going to pin along here and pin on the other side, because we're going to edge stitch it, but we want to make sure that everything is nice and flat. So I'll show you that process next. Alright, as I said, we're going to start again 5 inches up from where you sewed it, and put a pin. And we're just going to pin along here so it's going to stay nice and flat when we edge stitch. And we're also going to put pins on the other side to make sure that it stays nice and flat when we edge stitch the other side. So as you can see, this is what I'm doing. I'll put in a couple more so you can see it, and then I'll be back with you when I'm finished pinning. See, just like that. Ready. Okay, now I've pinned the whole thing and I'm ready to edge stitch. Now when I edge stitched, I made my stitches a little bit longer. On my machine, I set it to a number 3, which is about 9 stitches per inch. And I'm going to use my foot here as my guide when I'm edge stitching. Again, I'm going to back tack. And I'm going to just stitch using this as the guide, stitch along, and you're edge stitching your scarf. Again, don't forget to stop 5 inches from the end and back tack. You're going to turn it around, your scarf around. Oh. And stitch back in the other direction so that it doesn't shift when you're stitching. So let me stitch the other side and then I'll be back with you again and show you the next step. Okay, I finished edge stitching both sides and now we have to stitch across the short side. Now I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it, whichever way is more comfortable for you. I can basically just stitch straight across using a straight line, using my pin as my guide. But some people might not feel comfortable and may be worried that they might zigzag, but this is the way you can do it. Okay. That's one way. Now if you're not comfortable, you're afraid you're not going to do a straight line, let me show you a little trick. Take your ruler and you're going to mark it the 5 inches. You're going to take a piece of Scotch tape and you're going to place it along the edge there. So that'll be your stitching guide. Right along there. You don't want to stitch the Scotch tape, but you're going to stitch right next to it as your straight line guide. So whichever way you're more comfortable with. You stitch across the short end. Now don't forget, you need to back tack at the beginning and the end so your stitches don't come out. Okay. And then you can just take the Scotch tape off. And you've now stitched your straight line. Okay, it's time to cut the fringe, so I'll meet you over at the work table. Okay, we're going to do the fringe. You can make the fringe as wide or as narrow as you like. On the one end where it's folded, of course, you're going to have to cut up through it, like this. Now when you're cutting the fringe, make sure that you do not cut through your stitching. And I'm going to just eyeball it and cut my fringe. You can use a ruler if you want it to be exactly a certain amount, or you can just cut it the way I am. Okay, you would do the same thing on the other end. There's your fringe, and that's after you cut the other end, that would be your finished scarf. And the scarf is complete. Now this scarf, because of the measurements, is 7 inches wide by about 60 inches long, but you can make it as short or as long as you'd like. Okay, this is complete. It's a very simple project to make, and it's a great idea for kids to make and give as gifts to their family and friends. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked this video, please click the button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will be making more kid-friendly sewing projects in the future, so also go to our website, needlepointers.com, for all types of kid projects.